Welcome to the Super Saturday meeting for November 2025. This month we've got Jonesy coming back to talk to us about the Mac Mini and all the wonderful things that go with that computer. I own two of them, but I don't have one like that, so I'm going to be really interested to hear about this.
All right. So I'm feeling a little sentimental because this might be the last time I present to this group on there. So I figured, if that's so, it feels right to maybe talk about my favorite Mac. So my favorite Mac out of the entire Mac family is indeed the Mac Mini, for several reasons. The biggest reason was the Mac Mini G4 was the first Mac that I purchased with my own money, new. And the reason that is such a big deal to me is every computer I had beforehand was either very, very used or was a Frankenstein of parts and pieces that I melded together from other computers that were all going off to the graveyard. So it was my first experience unboxing an Apple computer, fresh from the box, never been used before. And once I got a putty...
And pulling that.
And
pulling that tape, right?
Pulling the tape, lifting it up, it was a very big deal for me. And then eventually voiding the warranty with the putty knife. So for those of y'all that don't remember, the official tool for the G4 Mac Mini to open it up was a putty knife, because you would basically turn it upside down, stick the putty knife kind of around there, undo the plastic clamps that held the housing together, and then you'd kind of lift it up, and then there were all the pieces and parts together. Over the years, my Mac Mini army has grown, and
So you kept them all.
and I've kept them all. I actually still have the G4 Mac Mini. It's not powered on every day anymore, but it's still there. It's definitely worn out a bit from all the times that it has been opened up. But they have done, they do a couple different things for me, and I'll kind of get into that here in a moment. My current, most up-to-date Mac Mini is the current, at least for now, the current version, which is the M4 Mac Mini, which comes in the two different processor variations between just the regular M4 and the M4 Pro. One of the things I love about the Mac Minis is because they're so small, they're very versatile. You can use them in a lot of different things where, at my job, we have an army of Mac Minis, and I'll have a photo here in a moment to show you guys of, they control our RFID tag system. So when equipment is pushed onto our trucks and it's pulled off of our trucks, it scans all the RFID tags on all the equipment. So we immediately know what has come back from show, what has not come back from show, and then we can kind of figure out what the heck. And then the other big thing is when you're sending stuff to show, sometimes these shows are in Orlando, Las Vegas, California, Chicago, and you want to make sure that all the equipment that the guys need to set up in these hotel ballrooms or wherever they're doing, that they have everything they need from the get-go. So the RFID system helps us do that, so that we're not panicking and having to send stuff on Southwest or American Airlines overnight to get it to their, we try to avoid that because that gets very costly. Outside of that, I've used a Mac Mini as the heart of an arcade machine that my dad and I built. I have a picture of that. I'll show that here in a jiffy. And I use a Mac Mini, an older Intel 2013, 2014 Mac Mini. And all it does is it listens to my record player. And yeah, I have a record player. I get that look sometimes. How old are you? It's like, I'm old enough.
I love that vinyl.
I'm old enough, darn it. Yeah, it's okay. Vinyl's back, baby. And all it does is it uses a program called Airfoil, It has an audio jack on the back. Actually, no, that one has audio in, audio out. So it listens if I play anything from the record player, and then it just knows automatically to push that audio to my HomePods in the apartment. So here's a record, starts playing it automatically, and I can go in there and fiddle with it, control it from my phone, but it just automatically does it, and I don't really have to be involved other than putting the record on and taking the record off, which is pretty cool. This little guy is my current Mac Mini that I use sometimes for having fun with like emulation. I'll show you some of the things that it can do. I'm starting to get back into doing graphics and digital art on there. I invested in a drawing tablet, so I'm very happy with that. And it's been very, very versatile. If you haven't seen it, they're even smaller. So I don't know if you guys remember the models before. The footprint was about yay,
Right.
roughly.
Yeah.
It is a little taller. But they definitely are taking a lot less foot space than they used to. Mm-hmm. So I always am deeply amazed how small some of these computers are getting, but still how powerful what they can do out of the box. So the great thing about this little guy, the ventilation is all done through the bottom here. So it breathes in, breathes out through the bottom. It's still an aluminum chassis, so nice heat dissipation there versus using plastic. You got audio, you still have audio in audio out, still on the front. 2 USB-C ports on the front as well. So if you need to plug in like a flash drive or any like peripheral devices, you don't have to reach around to get to there. On the back, you have power, Ethernet, HDMI, and 3 Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt 4 ports? 5 ports? One sec. No, that's the wrong one. That's connections.
It's 4 unless it's a
Oh, about
Pro.
4, yes. We just ordered also new Macs at my job, so I keep having to like remember, oh, these ones are using that, these ones are using that on there. And Bluetooth 5.3s and 802.11.ax, so very fast Wi-Fi as well. So yes, it has an Ethernet port on it, but if you got Wi-Fi and it's working for you, you can get the wiring down pretty minimalistic if you needed to.
Which Ethernet did you get?
This one's the gigabit Ethernet on mine. So this one I got for my birthday this year, so I splurged. So this is the Mac Mini M4 Pro, and when someone comes to me and they tell me they're looking for a desktop, and I ask them, well, what do you do every day? And they're like, internet, email, office, Facebook, maybe a little bit of photo editing or just photo organizing. I usually will tell them, well, if you already have a keyboard, mouse, and monitor, a Mac Mini is an inexpensive way to get into the Apple world, and it will do all those things for you with ease.
Can I interrupt, John?
Of course.
What kind of monitor do you use with that?
I'm glad you asked.
That's really important.
So right now, so speaking of peripherals, so that's the other one of the things. This is a BYOKMM, bring your own keyboard, mouse, monitor. Funny enough, I actually don't have any Apple branded keyboard, mice, or monitors that I use with my Mac Mini. Not that I have anything against Apple's peripherals, but I have several fondnesses for like different types of keyboards, mice, and monitors. The monitor I'm using actually right now is a portable monitor. This one is by a company called FlipGo. You can find them on Amazon. This year I have been between 3 different offices. So I've been between a Grapevine office, a Grand Prairie office, and starting Monday, a Flower Mound office. We have a lot of networking equipment to install. So I'll be super excited when we open our new building here, I think second week of December. So it's just around the corner. I always tell people it's real when the server starts getting installed. But you have an HDMI port on the back of the Mac Mini. You have Thunderbolt ports on the back of the Mac Mini. You can use any monitor that you like. It does not have to be an Apple monitor. You could use a television if you wanted to, portable monitor. To your heart's content, just about anything out there. I've yet to come across a monitor that doesn't work with the Mac Mini. Taylor.
How many monitors?
Oh, that's another great Aston Quest. So if you have M4 Mac Mini, the Pro version, you can actually do up to three monitors. So
Is that using two right now?
so this one is, I haven't plugged in the projector yet. I will here in just a jiffy. So on this one here, because it gets very specific. So up to 3 displays, 2 displays with 6K resolution at 60 gigahertz over Thunderbolt, 1 display up to 5K resolution at 60 hertz over Thunderbolt, or 4K solutions at 60 hertz over HDMI. So depending on what resolution you're going with, sometimes we'll adjust how many monitors you can go with, but you can do up to 3 with the M4 Pro on there. So keyboards and mice, I have actually been very happy with the Logitech MX Master. This is actually the older 2S model. They just came out with a 4, I think, a couple weeks ago. Really, the 4 I think is a little bit lighter. I think you're using a different material to make the mouse a little bit lighter. Not that this mouse is really all that heavy to begin with. And the 4 I think has haptic feedback. So if you like feeling haptic feedback when you do certain tasks, I know that Logitech and Adobe work together to give like haptic feedback when you do certain things like in Photoshop and After Effects. So if you're a creative in that realm, that might be worth looking into. One of my favorite features on this mouse though is the fact that you can spin the wheel on the top and it kind of just feels like it keeps spinning forever until you stop it. So if you're on those websites that have long scrolling and you're like, I need to get to the bottom of this, just flick and just go for it. And then as far as keyboards go, again, you could plug in any keyboard. I always used to joke for the longest time, I actually had a really great keyboard by Microsoft plugged in my Mac Mini. They made a really great Bluetooth keyboard, and then they didn't. So I'm like, But I am using a Newfie Bluetooth keyboard. Right now it is plugged in, but it is a mechanical keyboard, so yes, I'm one of those ones that makes sounds when I type. I get looks sometimes. It's like, why is Jonesy so noisy? But it just, I don't know what it is about mechanical keyboards. They just feel right. All right, so let me plug in HDMI over here so that we can see on the projector what I'm doing.
Okay. You want to use this one?
Yes, please, please. Thank you. Okay. Up, down, and around. And around. All right. Right. Let's see here. Let's do this. And actually, no, let's not do that. Let's see here. Hold on. Let's see here. Displays. Mirror. Oh, no, that's probably not as good. Okay, hold on. All right. I'll have to do it this way, but that's fine. And then over here on Zoom, oh, okay. Thank you. And you guys probably online want to see what I'm doing on the screen. So let's do this.
I've got this pointed at it.
Oh, okay. Does that work? Okay.
Seems
Well, then
to.
we'll do that. And I'm going to move this over here. Okay. So just a quick comparison. Here's my first Mac. Well, my first Mac that I was able to afford all on my own. G4 PowerPC chip inside. That one was a 1.33 gigahertz G4. So you go back to general. Obviously obsolete. And
Now, at the time, that was pretty.
no, it did a lot for a long time. It was a great computer, hands down. It was a great one to use on there. Still had a CD DVD combo drive on the front. You could max out at a gig of RAM. So that's where that putty knife came in handy, by the way. Get in there, add some RAM on there. Use some SODIMM chips, if I remember correctly.
But it wasn't soldered on.
And oh, thank goodness. Yeah, that is one of the little downsides on the new Mac Minis is there's not really a lot you can break open and upgrade on these new ones here. 2 USB ports, USB 2.0 ports on it, Bluetooth 2.0. It had a DVI on the back that you could adapt to VGA if you were still rocking VGA, and I want to say it had a Fire 400 port on it. So that's where it started.
Firewire.
And this is where we are now. So this one here, where is processor? There we go. So processor-wise, 4.4 gigahertz, 4.5 gigahertz on the high performance. That is one thing to kind of keep in mind with a lot of these new processors is they have multiple cores in them. So the cores are essentially on the fly handling what needs power, what just needs to be handled in the background. So they're very efficient on there. So kind of hard to compare single core now to multi-core. It's I don't think there really is a good comparison between that.
The hertz frequency is only good for comparing the same process.
Yes. So we've come a long way.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You got 2004. I thought your Mini came out in 2005. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's late 2005.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought. No. Back up. 2025. You got 2024. I thought you're.
Yeah, the current Mac Mini came out late 2024.
But
I
the
want to say
M,
November or December of 2024.
but the M4.
The M4, yeah.
That was 24.
Yeah.
Oh wow, time just flies. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just bought one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That over here for a sec. And then kind of going back to what I was saying earlier.
John, it might have gone over my head, but I'm curious about how much RAM how much storage you have in that Mini.
You know what? I can definitely talk about that too.
That's my biggest complaint.
Yeah,
My only complaint, really.
that's true.
You can always add. When you
So,
order it.
No, but you can't search what you had external.
so
Right,
this one is a 500 gig drive, and this particular model has 24 gigabytes shared RAM on there.
That's good.
Now,
Wow.
I know for many of you out in here, 500 gigabytes is a drop in the bucket. It's nothing. I will show you guys here in a moment how I get around that. It's very simple. But just kind of going back to what I was talking about earlier, here are the Mac Minis in one of our server racks at work. These are the ones that power all our RFID systems on there. So we are very Mac Mini heavy here at my job at Alfred Media.
Is that because of you? Are you the driver, the decision
Oh no,
maker?
we're very Apple centric.
Okay.
And actually, what's kind of funny about that is our parent company, Freeman. Almost everybody at Freeman is Dell's, maybe Lenovo. So there's a little bit of envy when they see that every staff member at Alfred gets issued a Mac on that. Oh yeah. So, but on the flip side of that, the one thing I always tell people, Macs are so expensive. It's like, yeah, maybe the upfront cost is more expensive, but they will last you longer.
Yep, they
And
sure will.
it's no surprise that we will still have, older Apple computers that are powering audio and video because they're designed to chug along and take that kind of power over a long period of time. So we definitely make our money back on using those Mac systems. I don't know if I could say the same if we were using primarily just Windows-based machines out there.
Yeah, corporate IT replaces Windows machines every 2 to 3 years.
We could definitely go much longer if we wanted to, but we do still try to stay cutting edge. So usually after 3 to 4 years on the staff side, we do swap them out. But these are guys that are working in large Vectorworks files, CAD. I mean, we're doing 4K, 8K video, audio mixing. So we're usually doing a lot of the high-end stuff on that. Is that overkill for our sales department? Yes. They're usually just worried about spreadsheets and the databases that they access. But from a standpoint, I think that they are much easier to support. They usually have less issues. In fact, most of the time when I have to deal with an IT issue at work, it is usually because the user has self-inflicted. So it usually means something got stuck in the keyboard or something damaged the screen. So it's very rare that it's a computer problem or a software problem on the Mac side, and at least in my life. So I like that, and I like to keep it that way.
I have to say, I agree. I worked at one company called the Richards Group. I did some consulting there, and everything that they did, because they do commercials and things like that for companies, and everything was Apple except the accounting department. They used Dell, but everything else there was group. And that's one of the things their IT people said. They had less problems than anything.
Jonesy, I have a question for you.
Yes.
This might be silly here, but at least like at Apple Computer, how are they running their email system? I mean, are they? They're not. I'm sure they're not running off of a PC, right?
Like the email distribution,
Well, I mean,
or
does Apple have email servers?
so
No, but
They-
you can run it on it, but everybody's doing those on Linux servers. Or some-
right. I
some
mean,
on
the
Windows.
iCloud email, I'm assuming it would be coming from Apple's server farm. But as far as like business side though, usually all of it's done through Exchange Server. But in that situation, you can kind of choose your own mail client. So you can use the built-in one in the Mac, which is Apple Mail. You can use Outlook, and there are many different email clients out on the market as long as they connect to Exchange Server or IMAP or any of the open standards for email. Then you could use just about anything that you like. Just about.
Yeah, Apple hasn't made a hardware server since the Xserve, so
I miss those days.
yeah, I do. If Jobs is still around, we'd still have it, I'm sure. But anyway.
Okay. Did I didn't uninstall it off this phone, did I? Every once in a while, I'll uninstall some. Nope, there we go. Satellite. I was looking for airfoil. Oh well, it obviously won't work because I'm not home. But going back to what I was saying earlier, home. So there's my record player, and whoops. Oh, let's see here. There's my Mac Mini. There in the corner, and like I mentioned earlier, it just has an audio cable in there. I use a remote desktop, so I don't have to worry about a monitor over by the kitchen there. So remote desktop, I just basically, on one of my laptops, I'll open it up. I can remote into this Mac Mini wirelessly here if I need to do anything on the desktop, but for the most part, it's all kind of automatic. When it turns on, it automatically logs itself in. It opens up Airfoil, the application, and then it just listens if a record or vinyl gets played. And then from there, it will broadcast that to the stereo HomePods that I have on each corner. So that's yet another use for Mac Minis that I have. And then last but not least, this is a cocktail style arcade cabinet that my dad and I built together. And it's just regular wood. It's a monitor that we have at the top of it, and the joysticks and buttons, you can get those off of Amazon pretty easy.
Looks like you had a Pac-Man?
Well, that's a cool thing. So thanks to emulation, you could put Pac-Man, Galaga, Frogger, pretty much if you can find it, you can put it on there.
Yeah.
Mac name? Is it
Yes, through MAME.
Yeah.
And great thing about that is you can find some that are hard to find arcade games that you just don't see anymore. Or even the ones where if you go to a barcade, you just don't see those in the barcade anymore either. Which on a tandem, I'm so happy the word barcade exists. So for those of y'all that don't know, there's a lot of bars that are arcades, and they're for adults to go play arcade games and have a drink.
Yeah, I think there's one down the street in Richardson from us.
Free play.
Yes.
Yes. Free play, Cidercade, list goes on. There's actually, I need to stop by. I found out there's one by where I live. So like within walking distance. So I have a task on there. The buttons and everything are all just controlled by a little USB controller, so that just plugs into the back of the computer. And same kind of concept as the record player. I can basically have it where when it senses power, the Mac Mini turns on, it logs in, it opens up the application that runs the MAME arcade game on there, or I can have it set to where it loads a specific game. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe you can. Let's see here. We did.
What size is your screen?
I think this one's like a 27-inch,
Okay.
roughly. And then I know it's kind of hard to see, but we did add a USB extension cable here on the side. So if you needed to plug in a keyboard and mouse to alter what's going on with the computer inside, in this case, it's I think it's like a 2017, 2018 Mac Mini on there, and that way you can, if you want to change a game out real quick, or something happens and you need to reset or add a couple extra quarters into the system, you can do that. Yeah, Lawrence.
I'm surprised you didn't get together with your dad and start a business. Boy, I could see this selling like crazy.
So who knows? My dad's retiring in March or April, so I'll ask him once he's done, cruising in the Bahamas, the Caribbean, and everywhere else, if he's getting bored. Hey, Dad.
Yeah, where do you put the quarters in?
So that's the fun part.
Oh, Jonesy, Jonesy,
Yeah. Hey,
what
Bernie.
kind of emulator would you recommend? We have card games that from way back 20 years ago that are on a small Mac that the guy just quit making them anymore, but it's a real good game. And I'd like to put them on our M4 or M3 we have right now.
Okay. Do you know what kind of system it was originally on?
It was on a Mac.
It was on the Mac. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I might.
Tim Baker, the emulation guy.
Yeah. Tim would know.
Now I know OpenMU has some stuff, but on the older Mac side, you might want to. It sounds like there's probably a more specific one to use.
Yeah, it's a really good game. It works. It's got 10, 12 different ways of playing. And we just have it on a Mac right now that's 20 years old. That's all it plays.
So I don't have anything on here on this computer yet that runs the older Mac and computer stuff. Tim, do you have any suggestions?
I guess it just depends on how old the software is, because yeah, I've got probably every emulator that they
Exist. Yeah.
they make.
And I've got some of Tim's previous presentations on our website. Go to past presentations from our main ACD webpage and scroll down. You can probably see some of Tim Baker's old Hackintosh emulator presentations to look at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a website called eMaculation.
There we go.
eMaculation, yeah. And it lists all of the emulators, and like Basilic and Sheep Shaver, so forth and so on. But yeah, I've kind of got a resource of all kinds of websites that that's the kind of techie stuff that I love playing with, is romancing the past, as I call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of romancing the past, if you are looking at emulating old video game consoles, I'm a big fan of this one here called OpenEMU. And that's actually what I am using to power my arcade cabinet. And it has the ability to emulate Atari systems, I think ColecoVision, original Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and it actually will go to some of the more, well, for me they would be more current systems, but I guess for some of the newer Gen Z, Gen A guys, they're still retro. Showing my age here. Some of the newer stuff, which would be like Dreamcast, which would be like 2000, mid 2000s. I can't believe that's called retro now.
So I did MacMame a long time ago, and I collected a whole bunch of those ROMs. Are those still playable on this?
So yes. There is I need to actually go and re-download it. When you go to OpenEMU, there is actually a version of this application that also supports MAME. So for those of you that may not know, MAME are the images or captures of those games from the actual arcade cabinets. So they play just like you would play them in the arcade cabinet. And kind of going back to the other question I got, well, how do you put the quarters in? There are actually a couple ways to do that. My way, which is a little cheap, is I program one of the buttons where I can program one of the keys on the keyboard to insert quarter each time I press that key. So I can just press that a couple 20 times, and I'm good for a while. You can actually get coin operation modules that you can install. And they just run a little 2-pin cable to the controller. So the USB controller that's inside, it has all the different little plug-ins for all the different buttons and the directions. So up direction has its own plug-in, down has its own plug-in, left, right. So your joystick will have multiple inputs to tell the software which direction you're tilting the joystick, that each button would, and then any additional things that you have, like the coin operation. So if you wanted to go that route and make it like super authentic, and you do have to put quarters in, you can find those pieces of hardware, again on Amazon or other websites. Like, I don't know how much you would trust it, but like Alibaba also has a lot of this stuff too. But I just prefer the C key on the keyboard, C for coin.
How many records do you have in your collection?
Probably, I'm going to say a number, and a lot of you are going to think, oh, that's still too small. But I think I'm reaching 40 on there.
Vinyl?
What do you?
Vinyl, yes.
Can you comment on vinyl? What's the reason for vinyl?
What's the reason for vinyl? There's something,
Increased
there's
dynamic
something
range.
about putting a vinyl record on. I don't know if it's,
There's no digital.
yeah, I don't.
And the thing is, ultimately, you are a biological organism, you are analog, you're not digital.
Mm-hmm.
And so the theory is for the, the audio files is that you want to have analog all the way through from the generation through to you're receiving it from the amp to the speakers. If you stick all analog in theory, it should be better than if you corrupt a little bit with some digital. Because digital ultimately becomes stair stepping,
So you can actually hear the difference
So,
between digital and say vinyl.
People call it a smoother or.
You were gonna answer about adding more memory.
I'm going to talk about how to add more storage.
Okay.
So,
Yes,
I
like
think
to
the
know
answer to
that.
the vinyl question, my dad has always had a vinyl record system in the study as long as I could remember. And I actually really enjoyed using it and listening to a lot of his, Eagles and the whole bit, all the classics on there. And, eventually I was like, you know what, I'm just something spontaneous. I wanted to get my own record player. We started carrying record players when I worked at Micro Center.
Oh, really?
And I was like, this is kind of cool. Why not? And it became a gateway drug. So you start with a record, and I think some of my early records I got actually from Half Price Books. And if you've never been to the Half Price Books off of basically the first Half Price Books off of Northwest Highway. The whole center section is just nothing but vinyl records and music.
Great.
So I always tell people if you just like to go hunting, see what you can find, go there. One of my first records from there was the original soundtrack to the first Disney Fantasia. And I still have it. And the record's maybe not in like the greatest shape on there, but that's like one of my really proud moments. Like that's my first record, and they just kind of have grown over the years. I'm subscribed to a best way I can explain it is like it's a mixed tape service where once a month they send you a record and it just has various artists on there, and I do enjoy that. So going back to the other question, okay, so. And this kind of goes for a lot of Apple computers these days. You kind of have to get them configured the way you want them or future-proof at the very beginning when you purchase them, because the days of cracking them open and adding memory and adding storage internally are not really there anymore. And part of that is because a lot of that is all on the motherboard now, and it's all soldered to the motherboard. So there's definitely a couple ways around that. My way is maybe not as sexy as some of the other ones I'll show you here in this jiffy. I have these little enclosures that house SSDs inside. So the SSD, it's just one that I picked up off the shelf, any computer store, Amazon, and just install them. It plugs in through USB-C. And this is a quick way that I can add, ideally, how many terabytes you want to purchase at the time.
What do you do?
And they light up, so if you want to get fancy, they have some that light up and change colors.
Nacho and queso.
Nacho and queso. A few years back, I started naming my external drives by cheeses. Don't ask me why. I don't. So, but because these are so fast, they're liquid cheese. So nacho, queso.
It's mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Thank you. So just to kind of put it in perspective, these ones are actually not as really large SSDs. I've had them for maybe a little while, but you can get SSDs now that are several terabyte sizes. But the queso is It looks like it's about a 500 gig SSD, and then Nacho's a 1 terabyte SSD. But there are other ways you can go about this. If you don't want, an external drive, the perk that I like about these little drives is I can disconnect them from my Mac Mini. I can plug them in my MacBook Pro. I can take them to work if I need to take them to work. There are some alternatives. I'm going to pull up Amazon here. Companies like Satechi, I hope I'm saying that right. I have one of their this company Satechi. I actually have one of their docks at work. It plugs into my MacBook Pro. It plugs in both of the Thunderbolt ports on the side, and in addition to having a plethora of extra ports on the back, so then I can have it go to my monitor, any USB Type A devices, since these are just the Type C interface, Ethernet, SD card, audio in, audio out. It adds a lot of extra ports, but the one I have for MacBook Pro also has an SSD port on the back of it, so I can install an SSD on it, close it up, and so when I plug in the morning, I'm plugged, 2 plugs on the side, and immediately I have power, monitor, all my external hard drives, other devices, away I go. Similar kind of concept idea here with these guys. This one here has the ability to expand. It's really easy, so it just plugs into one of your Thunderbolt ports there on the back. Has a little cutout, so I didn't really point it out, but the power button is in a slightly awkward spot on the Mac Mini. Granted, once I power my Mac Mini on, I don't really power my Mac Mini off. So it becomes maybe a cumbersome thought every couple of months. So, but they have a little notch out there so you could still reach the power button underneath. All the different ports in the back, but the part I wanted to point out here is it has an M.2 NVMe SSD. So going back to the storage question, if the storage on the Mac Mini doesn't fit your needs, it's really easy to add an external, or in this case through these little base enclosures, to give you a lot more space to work with. And honestly, these SSDs and the connections are so quick. Even when I'm moving files or working with video or
Well, you get the NVMe, some of the others are slower.
yes. But for the most part, it's very rare that I run into a slow issue going this route. Lawrence.
I think that's the best way to configure because if number one, you never run out of storage. Number two, if you hose up your Mac, if you put all your data on an external drive, you never have to worry about your, even when you update your Mac, you just update the main storage. That means your operating system and your apps, right?
Yep.
And then everything else, you just plug it back in and you're ready to go. And if you just do something like I did and update a beta software and destroy your computer, I didn't have to worry about my data because it was all on a separate drive.
And if you want to get nerdy, I have started to see these accessories come out that will, in this case, make it look like a classic Macintosh. There's a metal one that it does make you run your Mac Mini on the side, but it makes it look like a tiny Mac Pro.
Okay. John, I don't have any problem with external storage or speed. What I have a problem with is
there it is.
My son has outfitted us each with a 60 terabyte NAS.
All right.
I got one in my house, he has one in his house.
That's a good son, man.
Back up every night.
Okay.
But I have all this data on this 60 terabyte NAS, and I can't search it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, why not?
Spotlight doesn't know. I don't know how to make Spotlight go find something on an external drive.
That's a good question.
I'm
I use
78 years old. I don't remember where I put everything.
I use a thing called Devon Think, and what it does, it's a research file, but what I use it for is I have a NAS, and what it does is it goes out and it indexes every file on my NAS. And once I get ready to look for something, is I just give it, and I bought that a long time ago, but I resurrected when my wife asked me for something and I couldn't find it, and she gave me grief, and I thought, well, that ain't gonna ever happen again. So NAS, Devon Think is something that you can use.
DVON?
Yes, Think,
It's software.
software.
Spell it.
Tim Baker, that thing is awesome.
Can you put all your documents on an external and not have them on the actual hard drive on the minute?
You can, so, kind of coming back to here. And by the way, I pulled this one up here, but there is one that actually looks like the cheese grater. So there are some options out there.
I still have a G5, it looks like a cheese grater.
Devon Think.
Yeah, so, I mean, these ones here, they're, I have a lot of my movies,
This is it.
images, backups or other files. These,
Those
my
are on the-
iTunes,
They're on the external.
they're on my external. So my iTunes library, you could think of it, it's just another drive. You can put whatever you want to store on there, have on there.
And I think still you can buy it, you don't have to lease it.
Is it on the mini and?
So that's just on there. So
There's
What's the
two
icon
versions,
called
a
when
cheap
you
version,
go to
and
your
a
documents?
pro version.
The home folder? like your
Everything.
home folder.
No, you click on up the top or the side, search. not-
Finder?
Finder.
Finder, yeah.
You
When
can
you go to
load the
Finder,
data
when you
into
get
the
your documents, your
database,
pictures
or you can have
and
an
all that
index. I
stuff
don't load
listed.
anything into my database. I
Can
just
all that
index it.
stuff be moved over to the external?
So essentially, you want to move your home folder to another location.
There are issues with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's capable. I don't always recommend it.
Yeah, it also doesn't work with the cloud.
I'm too old to
You
have
really,
it.
what you want to do is have things that are in your documents that you expect to be shared in the cloud, and then a separate folder that's like a local one, and that's what you have.
On the hard drive. Just have a
Yeah.
regular folder.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you'd have your iCloud drive or whatever cloud provider that you would want. And then in addition to that, you'd have, your home folder on
And
there.
that's the same thing.
And there are times where there's some things I may not want on the other computers. I just want to stay on this computer. And then when there are times where I'm working on something and I know maybe I need to work on that now at my job, then I'll, remind myself I need to store this in the documents folder or whatever folder that's then syncing to the cloud on there. And I know sometimes it's hard to kind of keep up with which is which, but.
How about backup on time machine?
So, if it's a Mac, Time Machine's built in, you just have to tell it what external drive you want to point it to, or what drive you want to point it to.
Can you back up? I don't think you could back up external drives with Time
You
Machine.
can.
No, I don't think you can. I think you can only back up your,
I know you can exclude folders.
but I don't think you can, back up, at least,
Well, now, see, the problem
external
is
drive.
I've only got 256 and it's already run out
But not from them.
on the mini. And I desperately need.
I think, yeah, you can back up to them, but I don't think you can back them, from them, because I use Carbon Copy to back up my external drives, because I can't do it with it.
Yeah, you might, in that
But check
situation,
it.
you might look at like Carbon Copy Clover or Copy That, or, there's another one that I used to use all the time.
ChronoSync.
Chronosync's a good one. I'm blanking out, but there are a lot of, especially
Super duper.
Mac-centric. Super duper, thank you.
Yes.
There are a lot of,
I haven't heard
there are
of
a
that
lot
in
of
a
them
long
like
time.
Mac-centric ones that give you a lot more flexibility and capability. Apple's Time Machine definitely is good at what it does, but it's meant for like keeping it very simplistic. So it's kind of like a turn it on and forget it. And especially from my point of view, trying to like take care of a lot of different users at different computer levels. Some of them definitely sometimes need that set it and forget it kind of mentality.
Now,
All
I
right,
did watch
so-
a YouTube on how to change the memory on the Mac Mini.
So I think
Solder it on.
the
Oh my gosh.
last thing I wanted to dive into is maybe just kind of showing off some of the video capabilities of the Mac Mini. So I wanted to do that by playing a game. Figure like games like the best way to stress test. Stress test a computer. There we go. So if you are not familiar with this game, it's called Stray. And yeah, you play as a cat. So, B button meows.
So when you don't go home, you just go back to the letterbox?
So what's the purpose of this game? Is to get him through to a certain point?
So this game, what is the best way to describe this game? You're playing like a futuristic cyberpunk. We haven't got to there yet. We're still like in
Okay.
the outside nature preserve area.
Okay.
Eventually, you'll get to this area where all the residents, they kind of look like humanoid robots with the original like Macintosh classic computers for their heads.
I'm trying to
And,
get a. I'm trying to get a.
And you know, their faces kind of remind you of Finder. Their faces will change a little bit, and it really reminds you of Finder almost immediately. And you're basically trying to kind of solve why they got stuck down there in this kind of.
I'm trying to find the easier game. I got Assassin's Creed, and for my and it's just driving me nuts. Where I'm at the point where I'm about either too dumb to play it or something.
So this one might be right up your alley.
Yes.
But just to kind of point out, I'm playing this on a Mac Mini. You know, there's a lot of detail.
It's an awful.
There's a lot of lighting. You know, the fur and the effects and the water.
That's amazing.
You'll notice it kind of guides you when you're near something. It tells you know what letter to press on your controller.
How would you compare it to a PS5 or a Switch 2?
So this game actually came out on the PS5 first. And I have played it on the PS5, and this is just as good, in my honest opinion, this is just as good as the PS5 version I've played.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a dog version of this if you don't?
Is there?
I agree.
I'm sure that there's probably some dog-centric games out there.
Yeah. 'Cause I'm
And I know that right now what I'm doing is probably
Working out already, yeah.
because this is basically the very beginning of the game. So as you can tell, it's like teaching you
Yeah.
how to play the game.
How to be a cat?
It will progressively get a little bit harder as time goes on here. But this is Stray. It is a very beautiful game, and then once you get into the kind of dystopian, futuristic area of the game, it starts to get a lot more fun, a lot more interesting.
Can you change view to be the cat, so what you see is what the cat sees?
Unfortunately not. It's always a third
Always like
party.
that? Okay.
Yeah, it's always a third party.
Okay.
Well, once the dots, there's 4 or 5 dots going on.
telling you which keys to push.
Yes.
Yes, so yeah, as you get closer to certain areas, it guides you just so you like what am I doing? What am I doing here?
Don't hit the water.
That's the one call.
Wow.
I guess this is as close to first person as I can get.
There you go.
There we go. But, the lighting, I mean, you've got ray trace lighting,
Yeah.
water effects,
That's
the
nice.
fur. So I have to say that, to me, that's pretty impressive on a Mac Mini.
That's
All right.
impressive.
So, I don't know how much time we have, so I guess any questions?
Yeah, if you used a Mac Mini, you lose, instead of an iMac, you lose the picture ability to record you, right? No, the what do you call it? Camera.
That you're correct. So that you can get around a couple different ways. You can add an external camera to your setup.
You can also use your phone, right?
You beat me to it. The other thing that a lot of people don't realize is using continuity. You can use your iPhone camera as your webcam during like a Zoom call or a FaceTime call.
Oh,
And I don't know if any of y'all have played around with it, but you can also now do
That's what I was using when I showed my
Yes.
external case was my iPhone.
Yeah. So definitely doable. And again, you could do it through the Apple TV now. You can do FaceTime calls that way, and it's very easy to set up.
okay. Thank you. Nice
I
job.
got a question for Richard. Are we giving one of these away?
What?
For the Christmas, a mini at the Christmas party?
Terabyte of memory.
Not for the Christmas party,
Okay.
but
Well,
Taylor still has
Taylor still got a
$8,000
chance.
to give away.
All right. It might be worth the wait because there are rumors that the M5 is around the corner for Mac Minis. As you probably noticed, the MacBook Pro M5 came out, but only for the 14-inch models, and that's M5, M5 Pro. The expectation is probably January-ish, February-ish. We'll see the M5 Max, MacBook Pro 16-inch, and the M5 Mac Mini.
there's rumors that Apple was testing out the M1's laptops, Airs, in Walmart for around $500. You could buy one. And now what they're doing is they're going to take that M5, drop it, put that same box, the configuration, and put the Apple iPhone,
The A19.
A19 clip in there and use that as their new low end. And stock is really dropping
it
it
would
like.
Be really nice
Dale.
to see the MacBook come back.
Yes.
Because there's always the MacBook, MacBook Air, MacBook Pro. So the MacBook has been kind of, where'd he go?
So that's what I've heard from Wall Street.
Wall Street.
Using a TV for a monitor is good. You get good resolution.
So it depends on your TV.
Yeah.
32
I have it's funny enough, all these like up-to-date equipment, my TV's still a 1920 by 1080, but it has composite component on the back, so if I want to plug old stuff into it, I still can. So I'm just kind of like, TV still works.
But if you got a 4K, you're in great shape.
But yeah, a lot of the newer TVs are 2K, 4K, higher than that now. And if you wanted to use a television, the Mac Mini does have HDMI already on the back. So you just plug it in the HDMI port on your television, and away you go. Honestly, we do that actually quite a bit, is use televisions as monitors, because they for most people they look just as good.
And there's no setup. I've got a regular 27-inch monitor, but I do want to use it in the front of my RV with just regular television. So I was going to take the Mini with me in the RV and plug it up to that 32-inch television.
Sure. They're plug and play. When you plug a monitor in directly like that, it doesn't really even ask you any questions. It usually just immediately starts displaying to it.
That's great.
There's also AirPlay.
Electrify Expo.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good one.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.